Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department is working on two fronts to process the crime scene and also investigate the motive of the shooter. Metro and its partners have executed a search warrant at the home of Stephen Paddock in Mesquite, Nevada. Detectives are combing through evidence to uncover the motive behind the shooting and any other pertinent information that will help shed light on this horrible event. We have recovered 23 firearms at Mandalay Bay and 19 firearms at his home in Mesquite. I want to emphasize we believe Paddock is solely responsible for this heinous act. We are aware of the rumors outside of the media and also on social media that there was more than one assailant. We have no information or evidence to support that theory or that rumor. We believe there was only one shooter, and that was Stephen Paddock. We are doing a thorough investigation and only want to provide what is accurate to you. We will only give information that we have vetted and know to be true. I will not be speaking or answering questions on issues that we do not have the facts yet. The latest estimate on the number of injured still stands at 527, which the sheriff put out earlier this afternoon. We have 59 that are deceased. Our homicide detectives are working around the clock to process the scene as soon as they possibly can. We understand that there are personal belongings that people need to retrieve from all the locations. Once we come close to clearing that scene, we will provide more information for how people can get their belongings, and we are coordinating that with the local hotels and with the venue so that people can get their belongings back. The Family Resource Center will play a role in that task. We want people to know that the center is up and running at the Las Vegas Convention Center, and we are asking families and friends who live in Las Vegas to physically go to that center, which is located at the Convention Center. The hotline number has changed due to some technical difficulties. That new number is 1-800-536-9488. Again, that's 1-800-536-9488. The number that we gave out previously is no longer in use. However, if you are a local person from Las Vegas and are looking for a loved one, please go down to the Family Resource Center in person. That is the best way to get assistance. I also want to comment on some steps that MGM Resorts has taken. They are coordinating rooms at no cost at the Bellagio for families that are coming into town. They are also coordinating travel through Southwest Airlines. They are coordinating crisis counselors for people that worked as vendors, employees, and guests. And the American Red Cross has been given space over at Circus to establish a headquarters for the local community until they get some national assets in. We've had an overwhelming turnout of people standing in line to donate blood at the United Blood Services and at UMC, but they cannot take any more people right now. We are asking that you not go down there until at least tomorrow afternoon, if not the next day. They have enough supply to last them for the foreseeable future. People are also donating food in large amounts. While the gesture is appreciated, Metro does not have the ability to coordinate delivery or distribution, and we're asking that if you are going to donate food, do so with either bottled water or sealed food to the Red Cross at 1771 East Flamingo. There have been a remarkable amount of support from our community. We have been asked by concerned individuals from near and far asking how they can help. At this time, the GoFundMe page set up for the victims by Commissioner Sisolak and Sheriff Lombardo is the best mechanism to show your support to the victims. We do not anticipate having any further updates tonight. When we do have further updates tomorrow, we will send out a press release notifying you that we will be giving more information. These past 20 hours have been trying, and we know we have a long way to go. I'm proud of the courage and resiliency displayed by all our first responders on this event. I also want to appeal to you in the public and the media. We know of no known threats in our Las Vegas area. If we did know of anything that could harm the safety and security of our citizens, we would tell you that, and our department would act upon that. Please allow our department the ability to do what they do the best, investigate crime, and keep you safe. With that, I will turn it over to Commissioner Sisolak, who has a few words.
I just have a very few words I'd like to say. Again, I've had several of these today, and it's been a long, long day for a lot of us, but I just left Mr. Jim Byrne. I want to have a special thank you to two groups that we had. Our first responders, obviously our medical personnel responded, but for the fact of the great work done by the men and women of Metro and the security at Mandalay Bay, we would have lost hundreds, if not thousands more lives. I mean, they were able to triangulate and locate that route and get people in there and save countless lives. And for that, we will be eternally grateful for the work that you did. And in conjunction with MGM. We did set up with the sheriff the GoFundMe campaign, and I appreciate Todd saying something. As when I walked in here, we've received in excess of 30,000 donations, exceeding $2.2 million. When we started it, we set the goal at $500,000. We got to $100,000, and one individual called and said, "I will get you to your goal." And he donated $400,000. That individual was anonymous until now. He has said that we could release his name. It was Stephen Klubeck, donated $400,000 to support this community. We ask you all to support our community. And again, I'd like to ask you, next time you see one of our first responders, whether it be Metro or it be fire or what have you, tell them thank you, because we owe them an eternal debt of gratitude for what they did. And I've got some other speakers, Congressman Titus, and I know they have a few words to say. Senator Mastodon.
Well, thank you very much. This horrendous act of evil happened right in the heart of District 1, which I'm honored to represent. The whole day has revolved around that act. It's been police briefings and talking with the FBI, visiting hospitals, all the things that kind of are associated with an act of war. But we also heard stories of individual heroism. People helping others through the gate, over the fence, shielding their bodies, standing in line for blood. Those are the kind of stories that we need to focus on. And it's so appropriate that we've ended the day with an ecumenical church service on the Strip, where we gather to grieve for the fallen, to thank our wonderful first responders who have done so much in coordination with each other, and just to hold hands with family and friends, to cry and to recommit ourselves to do all that we can so that this never happens again.
Sure.
It has been a long day, as you can imagine, for everybody here, and like my colleagues and everyone here in Southern Nevada, I have to thank the first responders, our law enforcement, the medical community here, our EMTs, everybody who ran into the face of danger to save lives, many lives that families now are concerned about, those who have been injured, families now who are dealing with the loss of loved ones. I, too, had a niece there last night at the event. She was one of the lucky ones who made it home, but there are many who are still injured and who did not. And now it is time for all of our community to come together to bring comfort and relief to these families. I know for all of us this week is going to be about those families, those who have been injured, and how we can do everything in this community to continue to support them, as well as supporting the ongoing investigation that needs to take place independent. Let them do their job. There'll be plenty of time to second guess. There'll be plenty of time to talk politics. But right now is the time to come together as a community and support and comfort one another.
Good evening. I'm Mark Hutchison, Lieutenant Governor of the state of Nevada, and on behalf of the state of Nevada, I want to thank everyone who's already been thanked repeatedly today, and we're going to continue to thank them over and over again. Everyone who ran towards the bullets when everybody else was running away from the bullets, those who met the victims at the hospitals. I spent most of my day at the hospitals, and in fact, I just came from Sunrise. Sunrise took care of 214 of the victims and performed over 90 emergency surgeries. Just extraordinary efforts on behalf of our medical community. They handled this tragedy with confidence and character, and we're very, very proud of them as Nevadans. I told you last time that UMC and Spring Valley both performed admirably. I spent some time there as well. If you arrived in any of those facilities alive, you continue to be alive. I confirmed that again this afternoon. It's just the best of the Nevada spirit, the best of our community. Las Vegas has been my home. Born and raised here, raised 6 children here. And what we've seen today at the close of this day is the best and in the highest traditions of Las Vegans and Nevadans and Americans. We've heard story after story when you meet with these families about their guardian angels who were at that tragic site, who carried them out of harm's way or found vehicles and took them to the hospital. And it's just inspiring in a day that has been depressing and dark. It's inspiring to see what Americans do for each other. And so to all of those who have helped today, I say God bless you, and we'll get through this together with our faith in God and the American and Nevada spirit that we have. Thank you.
I'll take a small number of questions, and then we'll end it for tonight.
Mr. Assistant Sheriff, you went to 23 guns. Are they all rifles? And how do we explain the difference from 17?
Well, Ken, like the sheriff explained earlier today, and as I explained moments ago, our information as the investigation continues can change. We put out the information that we have at that moment in time, and sometimes those numbers will change. But there are 23 firearms at Mandalay Bay and 19 out of his house.
What's next in the investigation? Is it a homicide investigation? Are fit detectives involved? Is this case putting a strain on your manpower?
So I can tell you that it's a homicide investigation, and homicide is investigating that specific aspect of the crime. We have every resource available on our agency working, and I can assure you that the sheriff has made a point that we have resources both in the neighborhoods and around the community, as well as the Las Vegas Strip and downtown. That has not diminished, it actually has increased.
Have you found
One at a time.
And Chinese confirmed right now? Chinese victim? Chinese victims.
I have not personally gone through the entire list of victims, so I can't answer that question.
The majority of the people in the world are not trained like yourself to know what to do when gunfire, happens. If last night Jason Aldean had managed to say to the crowd, take cover before he ran off stage and took cover, do you think this could have saved lives?
I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know what Jason Aldean was thinking when he was on the stage. I do know that a common thing is when people hear gunfire, they run for cover, right? That's a natural human instinct. I don't know what he said before he left the stage, but the investigation will bring that out.
How long did Paddock shoot for? How long did Paddock shoot for? Was it continuous, or did he stop? And how long do you think the shooting actually lasted? How long was he shooting at the crowd?
We are still putting that timeline together.
Sheriff, can you give us a timeline of his movements?
When did he shoot the security guard, and did he continue shooting out of the window after he shot the security guard?
I know that he shot the one security guard up on the 32nd floor, but I don't know if he continued to shoot after that or not.
Can you give us detail on his movements? Detail on his movements, the 24, 48, 72 hours before the shooting? Any detail on what he did, where he went?
That's what our detectives and our partners are working on right now. It will be some time before we are able to give you that in a chronological order and with a amount of confidence that it's accurate.
Have you made any progress at all on his motives? There's reports that he was sending money to the Philippines.
So like I said earlier, we're hunting down and tracing down every single clue that we can get in his background. Until we confirm all of those things that are floating around out in the media and in social media, I can't comment on that.
Have you gotten that many guns into the hotel?
2 questions. Any timetable for when you're going to get those hard drives opened up and look into them that you found in Mesquite? Second question, did he specifically request that hotel room at the Mandalay Bay?
No, we don't have a specific timeline.
Did he request that hotel room?
I don't know that yet.
Did he have a computer in the room?
we did see several pieces of media, including a computer.
Have you examined it? Does it give you anything about motive?
It's ongoing.
Especially in Rouse. One other question. After the raid in Reno, can you tell us anything about what was taken there, if any weapons, explosives, computers, or clues that give us something about motive?
Nothing that I can speak of, and that scene is still being resolved as we speak.
Can you explain how we got that many?
Let me emphasize something to you that might help. I know that you are all very eager to find out exactly what his motive was or what was going through his head or what he was doing up to 2 weeks ago. I promise you the sheriff will provide that information when we have confirmed it. It doesn't make sense for us to put out information that is not accurate and isn't timely and reliable. So please have some patience with our agency and our partners to get you that information. I promise you we will provide it to you when the time comes.
Can you explain how we got that many guns into a hotel?
What was your question, sir?
Just what time exactly did his room get breached?
I don't have, do you guys have that?
I don't have the exact.
No.
I imagine someone must have that, right?
We have a time log of everything that we do, and that's what the detectives will be putting together as part of their investigation, is from start to finish, and including that entire timeline. So we'll probably have more information on that probably tomorrow. So I'm going to take 2 more questions, and then
Can
we're
you
going to be
please
done for the
explain
night.
how many guns got into the hotel?
The Family Resource Center, is that just for families who are looking for loved ones, or is that where they go if they need help? Like the resources that are being provided for them?
They can go there for help and resources, okay? If they're looking for a loved one or a friend and they're in town, they need to go there. It's at the convention center. Or the ones that are coming in, they can go there as well. They also have that 800 number that they can call ahead of time if they need to find out a piece of information.
How did he get the guns?
Specifically about that search warrant, the additional one that you guys executed today, you were originally saying northern Nevada. Can you now confirm that that was in Reno?
Yes.
Yes.
Any sense of how he was able to get that many guns into that hotel?
No, but I can tell you that that's part of our investigation of determining just that. Obviously, every hotel has video. I'm sure that we're going back and reviewing every ounce of that.
Do you expect
Or-
to find any more guns as part of the investigation? Like, is that possible that that number will go up even further?
I would say that in the areas that we've been so far, I would say no. But until we're done with the investigation, I'm not going to marry to that number.
Mr. Assistant Sheriff, did he have any other rooms at the hotel?
Not other than what the sheriff put out today at 4 o'clock.
Are we confident that we've got all the guns out of the suite with the 2 rooms from which shots were fired?
Yes.
So you're confident that you have all the guns?
I'm confident in the number that I gave you of what we have recovered.
Can you get some
Mr. Assistant Sheriff.
clarification on the
All right, that's it. Thank you.
About that experience. Yeah, so there was a lady who pushed her way forward into the concert venue into the first row, and she started messing with another lady and told us that we were all going to die tonight. Do you know why she was hitting them? Was this after the shots were fired, or? It was about 45 minutes before the shots were actually fired, but then she was escorted out by security. How does that make you feel? I mean, it makes me feel uncomfortable, especially coming here for my 21st birthday, not knowing if I'm safe, not even knowing if I'm safe going home tomorrow on an airplane, so.
I'm going to give you just a short synopsis of our updates, and then we have other individuals here standing behind me that are going to make some comments, reference other issues associated with today's event. So there's 2 things we're attempting to achieve. One is we have to finish processing the scenes. We have 3 separate scenes we are working out. Actually, it will be 4 at this point. So we have the 32nd floor of the room at the Mandalay Bay. We have the event location, the house in Mesquite, and then now we have SWAT standing by, getting ready to hit the house in northern Nevada. At this point, we did, in the last briefing, I was unable to tell you what we retrieved from the house in Mesquite. We retrieved in excess of 18 additional firearms, some explosives, and several thousand rounds of ammo.
along with some electronic devices that we are evaluating at this point. I mentioned that SWAT is about to breach the house up in northern Nevada, and then I'm going to give you an update on the casualty numbers. We are currently standing at 527 for individuals injured, and individuals that have died or passed away, 59. So what we're doing at this point, we have several people calling about personal items located at the stadium. We are not done processing that scene yet, and once we are done processing the scene, we will make arrangements for people that attended the stadium that believe they have personal items there to respond to the area, and we will help you retrieve your items. At this point, I want to bring Greg Castle forward from the County Fire Department, and he will give you an update on the Family Resource Center. Prior to that, I think it's important for, and I appreciate for you to put this out, for the people's families that are responding to the Las Vegas area. Some local proprietaries have offered up rooms for the family members at no charge, and that is the Boyd Group, Stations Casinos, the South Point with Mr. Gone, and also Siegel Suites. So one more time, the Boyd Group, Stations Casinos, the South Point with Mr. Gone, and the Siegel Suites. So individuals responding to the Las Vegas area in need of accommodations, those individual properties will accommodate you. So Greg.
Thank you, Sheriff. My name is Greg Castle, Fire Chief of the Clark County Fire Department. As the Sheriff said, there's a couple things I want to mention. First off is the Family Assistance Center. The Family Assistance Center is set up right now. It's a combination of police department, fire department, the coroner's office, and other local entities working together to provide the services for the families that are coming into town or that are still here trying to handle what has happened with their loved ones. They're providing all kinds of services. As the Sheriff said, many places have stepped up to provide flights, housing, food, transportation, and many other things. So it's a wonderful thing for our community to have come forward and have done. This facility is located in the South Hall of the Convention Center, S2, and it's pretty much taken up the entire South Hall. There's also a donation drop-off area that's been set up to facilitate people wanting to drop off non-perishable goods over there at that site, water and so forth. The entrance to that is off of Sierra Vista, right just west of this Convention Center Area Command Metro building. That's at Joe W. Brown and Sierra Vista. So I'd like to take an opportunity right now to thank the men and women of the fire departments, the Clark County Fire Department, obviously very near and dear to my heart, Las Vegas Fire and Rescue, Henderson Fire Department, and North Las Vegas Fire Department, as we were all teamed up there last night doing what we've trained for so many years. We wish would never happen, but we definitely had a plan in place, and we were able to execute that plan as well as we possibly could. We had 108 firefighters on scene. We have 155 unit hours just for the Clark County Fire Department alone spent last night handling that scene, teaming up with our partners from the law enforcement to reach as many people as fast as we could and to try to do as much as we could for the community. I also want to take a moment to recognize Community Ambulance. They were there as a standby medical at that scene last night. They had 5 or 6 ambulances there. They immediately threw critically wounded patients into their ambulances and transported from that scene, and also American Medical Response, AMR, and Medic West Ambulance. They brought all hands on deck. They brought in all of their employees. They rallied everything they could, from pickup trucks to vans to all their available ambulances, to bring extra medical supplies down to a staging area for us and to make those resources available to our community during that time of need. So I want to give a big shout out to those private ambulance companies that have done a wonderful thing for us last night as responders. From the fire department side, I'll take a few questions.
Are you able to say how many ambulances?
I could not quantify that, but I have worked here for 30 years, and I have never seen that many ambulances that I saw last night.
Tens, dozens, hundreds?
Dozens and dozens.
You said 108 firefighters. Is that 108 Clark County firefighters?
That's 108 firefighters combined from those resources I mentioned, those 4 fire departments.
What types of injuries were there to the people transported to the hospital? Was it mostly gunshot wounds?
There's a wide range of injuries, from gunshots to shrapnel wounds to trample injuries to people jumping fences trying to egress and getting hurt one way or another. So it was a wide range of those types of incidents, injuries.
Chief, will you explain or comment or tell us what the staging process is There's some who said it took a long time for people to finally get into the venue, or rescuers to finally get into the venue.
Well, we had multiple branches and divisions set up last night to cover that large area, and I can't speak to how long it took them to get into that venue, but we had some issues right out of the chute, or right out of the start, because things were going on. We didn't know where the gunfire was. We weren't sure it was safe to commit our people at that time, and that's some of our policies and procedures are to try and make our people as safe as possible. We know they're going to go into a dangerous situation. That's why we do it in a format we call the Rescue Task Force with the police departments. 4 of our personnel, 3 to 4 police officers going into harm's way, which is something that even 10 years ago in this valley would have never taken place because we had never trained on it. We had never planned on it.
Were any firefighters or paramedics injured or ambulance attendants?
We had no on-duty injuries of any of our emergency response personnel last night.
Did you have any off-duty injuries?
From my fire department, no.
Greg, can we give John Newberg a chance to clarify the notification of the families?
Okay.
Thank you, Greg, and thank you, Sheriff. Again, my name is John Feudenberg. I'm the coroner of Clark County, and I'd like to first of all just ask that everybody keeps those involved in this incident in their thoughts and prayers, and as well as the first responders, all government agencies, all of us that have come together and working on this incident. Please keep us in your thoughts and prayers, and know that we're working very hard to make sure that we take care of the families who have loved ones involved in this incident. I'd like to take a moment and talk a little bit more about the Family Assistance Center. As Chief Castle mentioned, we have that set up at the convention center. We're fully operational right there, right now, and we've met with multiple families. We're continuing to interview the families, and the goal of that center is to provide families information about the identification of their loved ones, and as importantly, to collect information from them so we can make the identifications as fast as possible. So we're working very hard at making those identifications out of respect for the family. I'd rather not go into any details about the decedents or their injuries at this point. I'm available to answer any questions that anybody may have. Yes, sir.
Is the Clark County Coroner's Office equipped to handle these many bodies, or has there been an issue with that?
Well, I would like to say we're about as equipped as anybody in the country. I don't know that anybody can be fully equipped to handle this, but we've gotten support through grant money in our county commission through the years. We've trained and we've exercised, and we're putting that training and exercising in place right now. And I think our staff, along with the police departments and fire departments, are doing a heck of a good job in handling this, all things considered.
Has all the fatalities been removed from the scene? We have to ask, do you have enough space at the coroner's office for 59 bodies?
We do have enough space right now, yes.
Have all of the fatalities been removed from the actual shooting scene itself?
As of right now, all of the confirmed fatalities have been recovered, and they have been transported to our office, yes.
Of the 59 deceased, does that include the shooter or not?
I believe that includes the shooter, but again, that number could be fluid. So, that number unfortunately may go up, and I don't want to give an exact number and confirmation at this point.
It does not include the shooter.
It does not.
Thank you, Sheriff.
How's your staff? How are you handling this?
I think we're handling it about as good as could be expected. I think everybody in this room, everybody in our county right now is suffering as a result of this tragic incident. So I appreciate you asking, but I think we're handling it very well, and our staff's doing a darn good job at managing. Thank you.
Mr. Coroner, are you able to assess the type of injuries that led to these deaths? Were they all by gunshot?
Again, as Chief Castle mentioned, he spoke a little bit about the injuries. I'd rather not speak to the injuries. The families want answers, and I'd prefer out of respect for them to give them the answers before we make those public. So I'm not going to answer that at this time, Ken. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much for your time, Sheriff. Commissioner Swat.
Thank you once again being here and spreading this information to our community. I want to reiterate what I said earlier, and I want to pay a special shout out to the sheriff and Chief Castle and the men and women, our first responders that are there. And as I said previously, when you see one of these men or women in their uniforms, please tell them thank you. They went in when everybody was running out, and but for the fact that their selfless actions, we would have hundreds more casualties than we are currently facing. There's no doubt in my mind. I was on the crime scene. It's horrific, and these folks did an absolutely incredible job, went above and beyond. I want to assure everyone that, it's under control right now. Las Vegas is a safe place to be. It's a safe place to visit. We encourage people to continue to come here. We have been deluged with donations. People bringing sandwiches, bringing water, bringing blankets, bringing those sort of things. It's almost to the point we can't handle any more donations at the convention center. The sheriff and I spoke to you earlier regarding the blood donations. After we brought that out earlier this morning when the sheriff and I talked, and we put out a call for blood, and we have a 6 to 8 hour wait at all of our blood centers right now. Donations are being given, appointments are being made for Thursday and Friday. That's how far in advance we are. We set up a GoFundMe account because the sheriff and I thought that we could maybe help some of these victims with funeral expenses, with travel expenses. As it relates to the families, you can have to be coming in from out of town. We can still have over 500 emergency rooms. We started that GoFundMe account. It now has almost 15,000 contributions, in excess of $1.2 million has been donated by generous people around the country that care about what we're doing. The hate that this one individual, this lone wolf, rained down on our community and on the MGM Village Park was met with an outpouring of love by our entire community, and we will get through this together. We will get through this as one community. So we thank you very much for being here, and our thoughts and prayers are with all of the families.
Well, thank you very much. I'm Dina Titus. I represent Nevada's 1st District, which includes the fabulous Las Vegas Strip and the scene of this horrendous act. So many times I have welcomed people to Las Vegas conventions or special events. Never imagined that I would be standing here trying to offer solace and service to those who would be harmed or killed by such an act. My office is serving as a clearinghouse. We don't want to get in the way of this wonderful law enforcement and first responders who have done such a good job, but we want to be there in any way we can. We've gotten many phone calls into the office from people around the country looking to find out where their folks are, were they hurt or in the hospital, were they killed. We're trying to pass that information on to the appropriate place. A couple of immigration calls that we're trying to help with as well. I would point out, in addition to the services that have already been mentioned, Thomas and Mack opened up as a temporary refuge for people who were put out of their hotel rooms. The Clark County School District has offered its counselors to the public if they are needed. We were contacted by Airbnb. They are also offering facilities to anybody who needs to come into town to see about family members. The community is stepping up. We heard acts of heroism, off-duty police officers helping people shelter, pointing out where they thought the shots were coming from. A friend of one of my staff members was being trampled. They were running out. Somebody grabbed them, pulled them into a van just to be safe, a total stranger. We were standing on the corner outside of UMC, and a car slowed down and said, "Where can we go to give blood?" That's the kind of community that we have here. Las Vegas is resilient. With everybody pulling together, we will get through this. So thank you very much to law enforcement, first responders, our fire department, those medical personnel who were taking care of people in the parking lots of hospitals. Everybody stepped up, and we can't say thank you enough.
Thank you. I'm Jackie Rosen, and I represent Nevada's 3rd District, just right outside the Las Vegas Strip. And I reiterate what everyone said here. Our first responders, our hospital staff, our hotel staff, firefighters, ambulance, police. And I stand before you not just as a congresswoman, but as a mother, a daughter, a sister, a friend, and a member of this community. And like Congresswoman Titus said, we are a strong community. We know how to fight, we know how to be resilient, and we know how to pull together, and that's just exactly what we're going to do. So today we're going to come together with all of our community partners, our hotels, Airbnb, our Lyft and Uber, our taxi drivers. We're going to do everything we can to support the victims, their families, and we're going to move forward, and we're going to do it together in strength. So appreciate everybody's support that's helped us. Again, thank you.
Senator Howell.
Sheriff, thank you. Not a lot to add to what's already been said here. United States Senator Dean Heller, but what I do want to add is that we'll never forget October 1st, 2017. Think about that. October 1st, 2017 will be a day to remember here in Las Vegas. And it's a day that we'll remember for years to come as we remember and think about how dangerous this world can be. I'm very grateful to the Sheriff's Department, all the first responders, and everything that they've done. The help and the support from people around the country, the number of phone calls that we've received, the condolences that are flowing into this community is second to none. And I want to thank our whole congressional delegation for working together, linking arms, and trying to move this community forward. Nevada is strong. Nevada will remain strong. With the two of us, we'll all do it working together. Thank you.
Chairman Goodman, Mayor of the great city of Las Vegas, and the outpouring of attention, love, sympathy, and offers of help not only have come from around this country, from mayors and governors, but also from abroad. And we want to thank for sure all of the law enforcement and first responders that have come in from other parts of the state as well as from Los Angeles to help us out here. The number of people that have come and gotten in line to give blood has really become an issue that we're going to learn from. We haven't been able to keep up with it. People are frustrated. They love this community. They love what it represents, and they want to do something about it. It's been simply incredible, and to learn that this wonderful fund that the sheriff has set up is over $1 million. You can just feel the heartbeat of the people that call Las Vegas and Nevada home. Most especially in talking, and I spent last night in the hospital at UNC and over at Valley to talk to some of those who were less seriously injured, how confused they were about the issue there, because as you know, when you go to one of these outdoor entertainment, and even the inner side, the arena ones, you're usually given a bracelet, identification. And because they were up front and because they were in a confined environment, the places to get out were less open to them. But the sounds and talking to the patients, hearing different sounds because they're thinking it's fireworks or it's part of the technology of the music that's being played, they could tell me that they were thinking it was coming from different areas. And the fact that our first responders and law enforcement acted so quickly, so professionally, and attended to the need right then and there, and were able to get up into Mandalay Bay in 4 minutes is simply an incredible feat. It is something that saved thousands of lives. We had over 22,000 people there in a small area, and it's simply amazing how efficiently law enforcement and first responders work. You heard those words from our president. He called me on my cell phone and spoke with the sheriff and our attorney general with whom I was speaking, and just whatever he could provide, and he is coming out here. The question is, what can be done? People are asking, emails are coming, phone calls are coming in, and I'm sure everyone that's standing here has received them. This is a remarkable community of people who are involved, who do care. And this heinous crime, this maniac, could do such destruction to so many people. We even lost one of our members of our city hall. And so it's a very difficult time. While the sun is shining in Las Vegas, it is a very dark and black day. And as I'm sure that was said, October 1st, 2017 will be one of the darkest days ever, and hopefully never again. Thank you. Thank you, Sheriff. And thank you, law enforcement, first responders. Simply unbelievable. Tonight at 5 o'clock at City Hall will be the first of, I'm sure, several vigils. 5 o'clock, City Hall. Pastor Troy will be leading that, and I'm sure there'll be many others. This is a loving and caring community, and I'm proud to be its mayor.
Thank you. I'm Mark Hutchison, Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Nevada. The governor was here earlier and said that this has been our finest hour as a state. It's been our finest hour as a city. It's been our finest hour, I think, among our finest hours as Americans. If you were taken into the UMC Medical Center, the trauma center there, and you were alive, you're still alive today. You're still alive at this hour. The amount of skill and professionalism that was shown by those doctors and those nurses and those medical professionals is extraordinary. It's something we can be very, very proud of. Same is true if you went to Spring Valley Hospital. If you were alive, you're still alive. Could not be prouder of those men and women who saved so many lives in Las Vegas today, and who saved so many lives in Las Vegas last night. As I went into these hospital rooms throughout the day, as many of my friends and colleagues behind me, and they are my friends and colleagues, and there are true Nevadans and true Americans, they heard the same stories that I did. These heroic efforts of ordinary people from all over this country. I'll tell you how personal it is. I just came from Spring Valley Hospital, and there Karen was injured seriously and was carried away from the scene. And she said, if I ever had a chance to thank this individual, I'd please thank him. His name is Sean Topper, who carried her from the scene. And she said, if you get a chance to ever get a hold of him or reach him, let him know that I made it. And she said that he was her guardian angel out there. And we saw and heard story after story like this. Ordinary Americans helping other ordinary Americans. It's a great day for America. It's a very sad day for Las Vegas, my hometown. Tragedy beyond words. But this was the day when Americans helped Americans make it through the night. And I say God bless them all. Thank you.
Mr. Hutchinson, can you clarify, did you tell us that everyone who went to those hospitals, none of them died at the hospital?
When I was at UMC today, I was told by the trauma surgeons that that everyone who made it into UMC alive was still alive. There were those who were not alive when they arrived. That was the latest information that I got as well. There may be more updated information, but that was the information that I got. And wanted to make the point that there was extraordinary skill shown by the medical professionals at UMC.
Did anybody go to any hospitals out of this state?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, we have one individual, best of my recollection, in California. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming. So just one more clarification. Besides the vigil at the City Hall, there's an additional vigil at 5 p.m. at the Guardian Angel Cathedral, and that is adjacent to the Encore Hotel. Guardian Angel Cathedral at 5 p.m. So I'm happy to answer some questions at this time.
Was there any sort of manifesto or anything like that found in his hotel?
We haven't located anything of that description.
Sheriff, tell us how many guns were found in the room?
16 in the room.
16 in the room.
Can you tell us what kind of rifles he used to shoot?
We have calibers ranging from .308 to .223.
Is there any evidence that he videotaped himself, phone or laptop or any kind of devices?
I'm not aware of that at this point.
Was there any sort of surveillance? Was there any sort of surveillance that he had set up to protect himself?
I'm not aware of that.
Sheriff,
I've been hearing that, but I'm completely aware of it to testify to.
Sheriff?
The woman that you were looking at as a person of interest that you then determined you didn't think had anything to do with this, now that you have found 18 more guns in their home and they apparently shared a home, do you revisit that? And how could someone not know that all of that was inside their home?
I didn't say we were discontinuing the investigation into that female. We are continuing the investigation into that female. There are several questions that need to be answered, similar to what you proposed, but she is currently out of the country. We are making arrangements to contact her upon her return.
Sheriff, she's in the Philippines?
No, I believe she's in Tokyo.
Sheriff, so 16 guns in the hotel room, 18 at the home in Mesquite. Were there any other weapons recovered as part of this
We had a handgun also in the hotel room, and I'm not aware of any other weapons.
A handgun in addition to the 16 rifles?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you find anything in the suspect's car at Mandalay Bay?
Yes, we found some, I believe it was fertilizer. Is that correct, Todd?
I don't know for sure.
Ammonium sulfate. I can't recall the chemical composition.
It was ammonium nitrate.
Ammonium nitrate. Within the car, we didn't have any compounds additional to that.
Sheriff, you mentioned finding explosives at the Mesquite home itself.
Correct.
What are we talking about? The improvised stuff, handcuff?
No, I believe it was tannerite. I believe it was tannerite.
Have you been investigating any kind of a gambling debt, like huge, you know?
No, I also saw that on the internet, and presented in the internet. I believe some journalism research produced that, but we haven't had the opportunity to evaluate it.
Sheriff, why
You've
is
been
SWAT
able to
team
track down-
up north? Why are you sending a SWAT team up north? Do you know what's in that house?
No, we don't, ma'am. We have to, as part of the SWAT team is attachment of our armor personnel or our bomb squad. We want to ensure that there's no booby traps available.
Did you use that mesquite as well?
Yes, we did.
Were any of the weapons modified from their original purchase? I mean,
We believe so. We haven't broken them down. The ATF hasn't evaluated them yet, but we believe, I don't know if the sear pins have been filed or whether they've been converted to fully automatic.
Sheriff, have we found anything in the way of any...
Slow down, please.
Have we found anything in any of the places that you've searched? Computer hard drives?
Yes, we have.
Anything else like that?
Yes, we have.
Are they...
We haven't evaluated them yet. The FBI has given us their resources to evaluate.
Would the weapons be characterized as assault weapons?
Yes.
Were any of them modified or purchased automatic?
I am not aware of that. We are aware of one gun dealer that has come forward to say that he had sold the weapons to the suspect, but we are aware of some other individuals that are engaged in those transactions.
Gun dealer in Las Vegas? Gun dealer in Las Vegas?
Not aware of Las Vegas. We're aware of Arizona so far, but we're working on it.
Was this just as simple as he had a huge suitcase and brought it all in himself, or how did he?
No, there were several suitcases. I can't give you the exact number, but it was in excess of 10.
You know how long he was at the hotel for?
From the 28th.
Is there any methodically just kept bringing suitcases back and forth and no one thought the wiser, or maybe they, it's a big place, I get it, but.
I wish that would have happened.
Is there any evidence that
would have
he visited the Harvest Festival during that time since he checked in?
We don't have any evidence of that.
Sheriff, do you have a working motive at this point?
No, we don't.
Did he stay in one room, two, more?
It was one large suite that had 2 rooms.
Can you explain what led you to the 29th floor instead of the 32nd, and just how you got to the certain?
In the interaction with security, they believed it was between the 29th and the 32nd floor. We had to evaluate each floor moving up.
Is there any belief that he was here prior to this weekend? Maybe there was some talk that he might have been at Life is Beautiful or a different music festival?
We are researching that. We had information that he may have attended Life is Beautiful, but we haven't confirmed it yet.
Did you find the room because of the smoke detector, because of the broken window? What led you?
No, we had complaints from customers into security.
And did a SWAT team break down the door?
Yes, they did.
Was he engaged by security before police arrived?
No, he engaged security. He shot through the doorway and struck security guard.
Was unspent ammunition found in the room?
Yes.
How
Can you say how much?
Was the security guard killed?
Okay, please, slow down. Okay?
Was the
I don't
security
think as
guard-
fast as you.
Was the security guard killed who was shot?
No, he wasn't. He was shot in the leg.
Sheriff, there are reports the shooter might have been employed by a federal agency. Is there any truth to that?
I can't confirm that or deny it. We are still evaluating that.
Sheriff, it might be a little soon to broach this idea, but are you and some of the casino owners and the property owners starting to think about plans for reevaluation, enhancement of security?
Target hardening, absolutely. That's a continual conversation. Recently, everyone is very aware of the Ballard project, and that was the intent to prevent any harm associated with that. So target hardening, evaluating customers will be a continual basis.
Can you expand on the relationship between the man and his roommate?
We believe they're, my understanding, they're boyfriend-girlfriend.
Sheriff, what's the distance from the room to where the shots landed?
I would measure by sight, just through my hunting background, in excess of 500 yards.
Did he use scope?
He had scope on some of the rifles.
And did he use multiple rifles during the assault?
Yes, he did. I don't know whether he used all of them or not, Ken. I don't know that yet. We have to break them down and evaluate them.
Sheriff, I heard on the minute from the airport, they had a witness who said an officer shielded them. I just want you to expand on the role of your officers during this emergency and let us know how they're doing too.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very difficult question. Well, it's not difficult, it's a very hard question for me to answer because of what they did, the heroic acts. Quite often we're the ones that go in when everybody's running the other way. And case in point, this event, that's exactly what occurred. And we ask the officers who are well-trained to address these type of events, active shooter events. But this is different than anything they've trained for because the active shooter is unreachable. So our intent is life safety. That's our first priority in law enforcement, and I'm very proud of what our officers do.
You heard earlier 4 minutes. Was it 4 minutes?
I couldn't give you, I don't even want to guess on the time, Ken. You probably do a better job than me with evaluation of the video.
Has ATF given you a timeline on when they can expect the traces to be done, and what are you expecting to learn from that?
I believe that in short order. I'm hoping we'll get that. Aaron, do you have any timeline on that? I would anticipate in the next day or two.
ISIS is still claiming responsibility for this. Do you have any evidence of that? Do you have anything?
No, we have no evidence of that.
Sheriff, when he was engaging with your officers, was there anything said? Did he yell anything?
I'm not aware of anything. So, we do our standard announcements before entry.
Sheriff, you mentioned tannerite was found in the vehicle. Can you explain?
No, not in the vehicle, in the home.
Excuse me, in the home. Can you explain a little bit more what exactly that item is, what it's used for? Is this the explosive that's used in exploding targets?
Yes, exactly. You can buy it at any gun store. I don't know what the regulations is on the amount. I don't want to give you a bad amount, but it is
commercially available.
Commercially available.
Did you say how much was found at the house?
No, I can't recall. I was told, but I can't recall.
Sheriff, do you have any
Several pounds.
Sheriff, do you have any information that he frequented Las Vegas often, or were scouting out locations in the weeks leading up to this?
No, ma'am. Other than what's possibly been presented, life is beautiful, and he does live in close vicinity of Las Vegas in excess of a year, that being in the city.
Is that Players Club card that was found in there give any indication that he was familiar with that specific hotel?
No, because the Players Club card did not belong to him.
Do you have evidence he stayed at the Mandalay Bay?
No, I don't.
Sheriff, some of the folks in Mesquite don't seem to know who he is, think he might not have actually held his primary residence there. He's got the house up in Reno. Do you know where he actually physically lived?
I believe it was Mesquite. I think I saw a posting, kind of an accuracy of the internet, that the neighbors were familiar with the individual, whether he was reclusive.
Can you walk us through it all from the minute that the shot rang out, how you guys got to the hotel room? Just to lay out that
All the officers, this will be the last question for you. All the officers were assigned to the event. We do have officers that were assigned for other events inside the Mandalay Bay as a matter of weekly practice, specifically the nightclubs. But I'm sure they were not aware of what was taking place, similar to the officers at the event. Officers took it upon themselves to help the customers exit the grounds, and some officers took it upon themselves to immediately go to the Mandalay Bay. There was a team of 6 officers that approached security. They went up the elevators after discussing the situation with security and obtaining intelligence, and they checked each floor by floor until they located where they believed to be the room. Subsequently, they approached the room, received gunfire, they backed off, and SWAT responded.
And there was no smoke alarm?
I don't recall a smoke alarm.
And I'm
Thank
sorry.
you very much. I appreciate everybody's time and your patience, and we will update you later this evening. Todd, you have a time you want to update them?
7 o'clock, 7 p.m.
We'll shoot for 7 p.m. tonight for updates of any new information.
I'll be back here, Sheriff.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.